What's up guys, Chad here with Greenlight Shooting and welcome to this new video. Today we are talking about Vaultek's latest and greatest safe. This here is the Pro MXI. Now this is obviously Vaultek's largest safe. It is their most high capacity safe. So I'm not going to talk too much about the unboxing and kind of what comes with it and all that stuff. If you're interested in that, I do have a live unboxing video, so be sure to check that out. So let's just dive into the safe as it is, right? So a little bit about it. First off, it is 16 gauge steel. That's what the body is made out of. The door itself is 12 gauge steel, so super rigid. I mean, the thing is freaking heavy, like seriously heavy. I want to say it was like 40 pounds or something when it was shipped. Don't quote me on that, but I mean, it's heavy. There are 5 different entry points. We've got a concealed key as the first one. We've got an illuminated keypad, which does light up when you get close to it. So if it's the middle of the night or something like that, you know, you just get proximity and it will light up, show you what you're hitting. You've also got a biometric fingerprint scanner. That scanner, I think, holds up to 50 fingerprints. So the first 2 you put in are sort of the authorized fingerprints. To add any additional ones after those first 2, you need those first 2 in order to allow it to add more on. We also have the app, so the Vaultek Smart app. You can check your battery life, you can unlock it, you can check your history log, you can do all sorts of things from the app, and then you can also use like a key fob. So we'll talk a little bit more about those in just a second, but those are the 5 different ways to actually gain access to this safe. Now, what's different about this thing besides the size, obviously? On the exterior, the main thing that's drawing my eye is this LCD screen. It's really nice to have that readout. You know, it's telling you battery, so you're never wondering, you know, if you have enough battery to keep it going or if you can charge it or something like that. It does give you feedback when you unlock it, when it's locked, stuff like that. You can name it, so in your app, you know, when you're hooking up via Bluetooth, you can view which safe is which. So a really cool addition. I do like that a lot. As with most safes, this charges, as with most Vaultek safes, this charges with the micro USB cable, and there is a new accessory that makes that even easier. So we'll talk about that in a minute as well. One feature that is exclusive to the Pro series is impact detection. So it's going to detect when there's an impact, when it's being rocked, when it's being moved, when something hits it or something like that. It's got that feature. You can set that completely off, low, medium, or high sensitivity. You can do all that from the app or on the safe directly, which is really nice. As with all the other Vaultek models, it does have the anti-pry bars. It also has anti-impact latches right here. So on some safes, you'll see you can bounce them up and down and get the latches to come loose. These are meant to prevent that from happening. But anyways, into the inside of this monster here. So we do have an interior light. There's 4 different LED lights in there, which is really nice. I've read on some reviews, some people have thought about just putting some like red cellophane or something over it to not give away, like if it's in the middle of the night or something like that, you know, you still have vision in there without like giving away your position or something. I don't know if that's a concern, but if so, that is an option to think about. The battery just mounts in here. It's just lithium ion battery. The batteries on all Vaulteks are awesome. Literally, they will last months, and they take, I want to say, 2.5 hours to fully charge. So yeah, super simple. Love that idea. The program button is down here underneath, so it's not anything like when this door is closed, it's not anything you can take you know, like what are those called, like wire cables or whatever, and just stick them in here and try and hit the program button and reprogram like a master code or something like that. Like there's no chance you're getting in here with something to be able to reprogram that. But that button, along with the keypad, is how you will program master codes, fingerprints, change different settings and stuff like that if you want to do it all on the safe. So yeah, then within the safe itself, we do have a shelf here, which is a nice addition. That shelf you can take it up and out, and there are 3 different options in there on where you can mount this. I just have this mounted on the highest position. And then there are points where you can actually mount new accessories. So on the rack here, we've got 2 of them. And if I take these out, you can see they're just soft little covers with 4 kind of male inserts, and then there's 4 female inserts in here, and that's where accessories will attach in. So you've got 2 options for those up top on the shelf. You also have 3 options down here below. Now, if you just want to throw things in here, you certainly can. Let me turn this light back on. You can see a little bit more. But like, so you know, if you just want to set firearms in there, you can stack a ton of them. You can add whatever you want. You can sort of get them to lay up against the side. If you want to throw them on the shelf, it can support that much weight easily. This is a fully loaded handgun with a light on top of it, and it holds that no problem. So it's definitely robust and secure. But if you want to step up your organization game, they do offer some new accessories. This safe does come with one of these, which is Vaultek's twin pistol rack. Now, as you can see on the bottom, you've got 4 little notches here, which just fit nicely into one of these. So if you just lift off one of those covers, this sits in there and locks into place. So a really slick setup. Inside here, we've got just some non-reactive foam, which is really nice. So if you've just cleaned your gun, it's got oil on it, it's not gonna soak up that oil. It's gonna keep it on your gun, make sure it stays clean and lubricated. But I like the foam idea because it's universal. Like, you can fit pretty much any gun in it. So, you know, you can take a small gun like the Ruger SR22, that's gonna fit in no problem. You can take a large gun, like a full-size 1911, and that's gonna hold it just fine as well. You can also throw in a full-size handgun with a light here. So because this foam is open on bottom, if I've got a light mounted there, it still fits in just perfectly, and I don't have to take that light off every time to store it. That's huge because, you know, with safes, obviously, you know, the home defense, whatever, middle of the night, you need something, you can pull this gun out and already have your light mounted up, and you can be ready to go. One thing to be super conscious of is when these racks do hold a gun, they don't cover your trigger guard. So definitely be conscious of that. So you do get one of these with the purchase of the safe. I got an additional one so I can hold 4 handguns in here. And then with that other accessory option, I got this little magazine rack. Now this is their MR8 magazine rack. It holds 8 mags. And as you can see, it's the same setup in there. So it's just that non-reactive foam. Again, so it's not soaking up oil or anything like that. And on the bottom, it's got the same mounting. That has happened to me so many times. If you leave the door open, it starts yelling at you. So don't leave the door open. Back to the magazine rack. Holds 8 magazines. It'll hold pretty much any size mag. So these are like the full-size M&P mags. You can see there's single stack 1911 mags that fit in there just fine. I've got single stack XDS mags in there, Glock mags. So pretty much any standard magazine will fit in here just fine. One thing I do like about this magazine rack is that it keeps your magazines at somewhat of an angle. You know, anytime you're holstering a mag or something like that, it's nice to have that little bit of angle so when you're drawing, it just makes it that much more convenient. And there is one last accessory to talk about. That is the Vaultek Power Pack. Now, I did a live video on all these accessories, so if you want to see more into them, check those out. But the whole idea with this is it's essentially an external power bank. And it's got some magnets on the bottom here, so it'll stick to the safe anywhere. And on the front here, we've got a normal USB as well as a micro USB, and it comes with this mini little cable. So the idea is you plug this in with the big USB, little USB goes into the safe, and the safe pulls off of the power from this external power source. When this thing dies, you take it off, and this thing still has like months worth of charge on its own. You take this over, you flip the cord around, so you plug the micro into this and the big USB into a normal outlet. Let this thing charge back up, and then you come back in and plug it in. So that's a big deal for me because, as I mentioned, this thing's super heavy. It's not really meant to be moved around. You know, when the impact detection's on, when you move it, it yells at you. So originally where I had this placed in my house, there was no outlets nearby. You know, I couldn't just plug this in and keep it plugged in. So I was worried I'd have to take it over to the outlet, let it charge, bring it back, and you know, set it there. So, but with the power pack, that lets me leave the safe where I need it to be, and then I can just take this back and forth and charge it. And this thing also will run for like months, apparently. So literally charging this thing every couple of months and just leaving this thing alone is a huge weight off your shoulders. You never have to worry about battery either. On this one, on my other Vaulteqs, I always wonder how much charge I have. You know, you have the little LEDs or whatever, but I don't know. I always wonder, do I need to keep this thing charged or not? Having the LCD screen is huge, and seeing the LCD screen at 100 when this thing is plugged in just lets me know that it's still solid, it's still running off this battery. Let me show you how this plugs in, by the way. Oh geez. So I can just attach this to the side right there, plug this little guy in, and then it just literally sits there. So it's out of the way, it doesn't harm the aesthetic of the safe, and takes all the concern about whether this thing is charged or having to charge it out of the way. So now that we've talked about all of the features of the safe, I want to give kind of a quick summation of my subjective view on this safe and opinion on it. Now, I've worked with Vaultek for a long time, so take it for what it's worth, but I really believe that Vaultek's a great company that puts out some awesome products. But I do think there are a couple things that we should touch on with this safe. So first off is the size of it. I think there's a lot of people that are wondering where this size fits in, because you have, your smaller Vaulteqs, which are great for kind of your nightstand safe for your, one gun or something like that, or new gun owners who just want to lock up their one gun away from their kids or whatever. So there's that, and then there's also, your full-size long gun safes, which are your big stand-up safes, and this fits somewhere kind of in the middle. So it is kind of an interesting size. I don't know how it's going to work for a lot of people, but I will tell you how it works for me. So by my bedside, I have the smaller Pro VTI. I have that by my nightstand, and then my wife has a VT10i next to her side. So we have, one gun in there as well as a light or something like that. Now this sits sort of in our safe room. If you watched my home defense video, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of where we'd go in an emergency. Now this sits back there, and it is fully stocked. It's got 4 handguns, it's got a ton of magazines, ammunition, holsters, stuff like that. In addition, it's got enough room to keep holsters and stuff like that. So, in the morning when I get ready for the day and I'm ready to throw on my concealed carry, I'll come and grab my holster and a pistol out of this safe, so I can keep the safe by my nightstand stocked with my middle of the night gun or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's how the safe works for me. I like that setup. You'll kind of have to figure out if that works into your lifestyle or not. The next thing I want to talk about is entry points. Now, as I mentioned, there's 5 different entry points, but how many of them are actually practical? Now, this key entry one, a lot of people like the physical key. I like having it in case I forget my keypad or code or something like that. But I will say this thing is extremely, like the cover, it's meant to be concealed. The cover that's over the keypad portion is extremely rigid, and it takes some serious focus to get that thing off. It's just not a quick access point. So I'm only using that for a complete backup. The biometric, my hands are sweaty. You can probably even see it on camera right now. My hands stay sweaty all the time. So the biometric just doesn't work for me. I mean, when I had an iPhone with Touch ID, it didn't work for me. So it's not the safe's fault, it's just the biometric doesn't work for sweaty hand people. So if you have sweaty hands, it's not something I would rely on. It works maybe 1 in 5 times for me. The keypad, on the other hand, works every time. I love that. That's how I enter the safe every single time I use it. The app is really nice. I like that addition, but I've noticed every time I open up the app, I need to repair it to this safe. And so it ends up taking 10 to 15 seconds every time I open the app. That's just not practical, when I just want to grab something out of the safe or in the middle of the night in a critical situation. I don't want to wait for it to pair. The key fob is really nice. There are 3 different options for that key fob. You can have it completely off so it won't react to it. You can have it in a progressive mode, I believe, where you have to be nearby, and I think you have to touch it so that it responds and comes alive, and then it'll work, which sort of defeats the purpose to me. I think if you're gonna use the key fob, you wanna use it on the on-demand mode, which is at any time you can push it like a car and it opens up. There is a warning on it that says it'll open up from other rooms, so be careful about that, if your kid gets it or whatever. But that's, again, something I have to fish around for in my pocket or something, pull it out and open up the safe. It's not as much of a big deal, but I just like the ability to type in my code and punch right in. In the middle of the night, the key fob might be nice, almost as like a panic button or something. If you have it maybe hidden underneath your bed or something, you can reach down and just clap those 2 together. This thing opens right up. I do like that option about the key fob. But for 99% of scenarios, day-to-day, getting in and out of the safe, I'm always going with the keypad. Now, once we're inside the safe, I like the setup of it, but the shelf is a little bit interesting. I love the ability to pull the shelf out, get, I keep, wallets, watches, things like that on top of here. Down here, if I put magazines or guns or anything like that, it takes up that entire amount of room. And so when you're trying to pull the gun out, when you're trying to pull magazines out, you end up sort of hitting into the shelf. So you almost need to remove the shelf entirely to get a clean pull every time, or just be extremely conscious that that shelf is there and really pull out at an angle. If you moved this shelf down to the bottom row, you can get these things to mount on it. I really do like that. Then you can pull it out and have a little bit more room to get your mags out and stuff. But there's only 2 mounting options, and I want to be able to use all 3 of my mounting accessories. So that's why I have it set up this way. Again, you'll just kind of have to figure out what works best for you. These, by the way, these additional accessories are $35 each, so really not too steep, and they are a nice addition to have. To give you an idea of how I have it set up, normally I have magazines over here for my left hand, and then I have 2 rows of handguns, so I've got 4 total handguns in there, 8 total magazines. Up on top, I've got a holster, and then wallet, passport, stuff like that that just need to be tucked away somewhere safe. So, I didn't mention that you can mount this thing, by the way. It does come with mounting hardware, so you can mount it up, keep it there, keep it totally safe and secure, and then you've got this power pack to go back and forth and charge that up, keep it charged at all times. But yeah, overall, that is my take on the safe. I think it is a beautiful safe. I think it is very functional. I do like the size for my personal lifestyle. You'll have to kind of gauge whether it works out for you or not. That is my review on the Vaultek Pro MXI. This thing is coming in at $525 with the biometric scanner. If you don't want the biometric, I believe it's $500. And then as I mentioned, the accessories are $35 each for the mag rack and the twin pistol rack. By the way, I forgot to mention, if you want to pick one of these up, make sure to use coupon code GLS18. That is down in the video description below. You can grab yourself a free Vaultek t-shirt and a limited edition GLS Vaultek patch for free with any safe purchase. So, thanks so much for watching. Vaultek's information is down in the video description below, as well as that coupon code. We'll see you next time on Greenlight Shooting.